This presentation is for Assessment 3 of Business Environments, Risk Analysis and Management Plan. The business I've chosen is Michael Hill Jewellers. Michael Hill Jewellers produces and retails specialist jewellery. It was founded in 1979 in New Zealand, had an annual turnover in 2019 of $329 million and operates 304 stores worldwide. This includes 86 stores in Canada, 168 stores in Australia and 52 stores in New Zealand. It has a total of 3,400 full-time employees worldwide. From completing a risk management plan for Michael Hill Jewellers, I've identified 4 risks. The first risk is that retail stores be forced to close due to the pandemic in either New Zealand, Australia or Canada. The likelihood of this happening, as we've seen in the last months and weeks, is actually quite high. The impact of this is high. The consequences of stores being forced to close is a loss of revenue through retail outlets, a loss of sales altogether through retail outlets, and higher operating costs, especially if stores can't be open or once they choose to reopen. The ranking of this, or the manageability, is high. The management plan I would suggest is to have a designated employee to monitor the pandemic in the 3 countries that Michael Hill has retail stores, and to develop plans for efficient closure and reopening of stores when the time does come. Monitor global pandemic threats in the future, and increase investment and research into e-commerce as an alternative stream of income. For monitor and review, while the pandemic's pressing matter, there'd be weekly reports on the situation to be presented to the board for review so they can make decisions, and immediate reports on urgent matters such as legislation or any other changes that come from COVID. And there would also be monthly reports on the development of the e-commerce sector. The second risk that I've identified is a loss of market share to e-commerce. The likelihood of this is medium, but the impact is high. Consequences include decreased sales and decreased profits. The manageability ranking of this is high, and the management plan I would put forth is to invest and research into e-commerce, and also to look into other streams of technology that may help transition Michael Hill's reputation and experience into the future. For monitor and review, there'd be monthly reports on the e-commerce technology and the market performance of these. The third possible risk that I've identified for Michael Hill Jewellers is supply chain interruption of precious metals and stones. The likelihood of this is low, as there's a lot of source countries and it's pretty well spread across the board. The impact of this would be medium to Michael Hill. The consequences of this could be increased costs, delays in receiving and delivering of products or materials, and limited availability of certain products. The manageability ranking of this is low. Management plan is to regularly analyse the business environment in source countries and diversify source countries where possible to spread the risk. For monitor and review, I'd recommend that this is reviewed on a quarterly basis through a report provided to the board. The fourth risk I've identified for Michael Hill Jewellers is changes to international laws, such as import and export laws. The likelihood of this is happening medium, as laws are always changing. However, the impact of this would be low due to the fact that the market is pretty widespread. Consequences of this would be higher cost of goods and reduced profits, and the manageability ranking I've given this is low. Management plans I've put in place are to diversify supply countries where possible, to monitor political and economical changes in supply countries regularly, and to move away from any unstable situations. For monitor and review, I would suggest that Michael Hill Jewellers undertakes yearly reports on political environments or any suggested legislation changes in both source and retail markets. Pestle analysis, internal analysis, and completing risk management planning will help us to identify and mitigate any risks